Girlfriend female 31 is trying to convince me M30 into a relationship with her friend female 29. We had a blow up this weekend over it. Should I apologize or call it quits? Original post. My girlfriend is bi and primarily dated women before we met. We're getting serious and talking about getting married. We've dated for over 2 years. But recently, she's been making a lot of polygamous jokes, and I'm not really into it. She has this friend that I get the feeling is just waiting for a hiccup in our relationship to make a move. She's bi and openly makes jokes about being sexual with my girlfriend. I've shared that I don't like it before, but she jokes that I'm gay for not being into it. Maybe I could be into an experience, but honestly, this person just makes me uncomfortable too often. Besides that, she's just not my type sexually. We had a long conversation around COVID about she wanted to be referred to him, so I did. 2 years later, he wanted to be referred to as they, them, so I did. Recently, she's circled around back to him, her, which is fine, but the whole time she dresses like a Kyle. For those of you that are unfamiliar, Kyle is a kind of guy that wears Fox apparel, washes down vape with a Monster energy drink. She would be attractive, but it's like her idea of masculinity was formed from high school douchebags, not 30-year-old men. Anyway, Saturday we got into a fight because we had some friends over. Kyle was the last one to leave. We'd all been drinking. I was in the kitchen putting away some food and I saw this asshole put his hand on my girlfriend's ass. I let her know right away, that's the line, you crossed it, stop. My girlfriend gives her classic, that's just how girls joke and goes. They did this silly little dance twirl thing that ended my girlfriend on Kyle's lap. I'd had enough and stepped into the room. My girlfriend doubled down and said that most guys would be dying to fool around with 2 women. I was blunt and said that I was uninterested in sharing her with anyone. Kyle then said something like, maybe I could strap one on. Maybe you'd prefer a man. I was drunk. This asshole had his hand on my girlfriend's waist and my girlfriend on her lap. I lost it. I don't remember what I said exactly. Something like, if you were a man, you would have been kicked out or knocked out already. This struck some kind of chord with her. She postured up like a gorilla and it was a 3-way shouting match. I don't know what was said exactly. But it ended with Kyle loudly proclaiming that she had to leave before someone got hurt. Here's the problem. My girlfriend somehow thinks that I need to apologize. Me, for threatening a person who came into my home, grabbed my girlfriend's ass, sat her down on her lap, and insisted that I'd like to be ass-F by a man. She says that I needlessly introduced violence and forced Kyle to drive home intoxicated. I honestly can't fathom an apology, and I honestly don't care to have Kyle in our life anymore. I'm not typically the one to die on a hill, but I feel like anything short of digging my heels in is unacceptable. I told her I'd think about it. She's staying at a cousin's house for a few days. If it was just one night, I'd get it, but it's been several. Saturday was just the tipping point, but honestly, she acts like something she can get out of her system. I think she wants to be bi, and I think a lot of her friends are doing the poly thing. It's just not for me. I want one partnership with one person. All of her poly friends are in relationships, but they come and go. There's nothing concrete there. She claims to want kids, she claims to want commitment, but her actions say otherwise. Edit. She claims she's coming by to pick up things for work. I feel like a conversation is unavoidable. I've taken what I want out of the competent suggestions here and applied the relevant context into the talking points I want to hit. I may update tomorrow or whenever I feel better. I don't know if this post was a good or bad idea. I won't reply until I feel like it. I have a big band-aid to rip off. OP replies before reading the update. Mango Saint Juice. I've shared that I don't like it before, but she jokes that I'm gay for not being into it. This is shaming tactics. If you know you're not into something and you've already told the PPL around you, yet they still try to get into it, you need to remove them from your life because now they're being disrespectful to your boundaries. OOP. That's what I'm saying, but they've been friends longer than I've been together with her. She writes it off as, that's just a long-running joke. Replying to a deleted comment. OOP. What blows is that in almost every other way. We click. Similar interest, similar political beliefs, similar morals, we're both career-driven and stable. Our sex life is also very good, we both pay attention to each other's needs. But her poly friends have her believing she can be a stay-at-home mom and sleep around when she feels like it. Apostle of Moon. Let's be real here, dude. She consistently, repeatedly, does not show any regard for your thoughts, feelings, or boundaries. When prompted, she has done nothing to change an act that she is aware of that bothers you. If anything, she has increased her participation in that poor behavior. She doesn't seem to care about you when it counts. Ergo, she is far, far, far from 95%. I hope you find someone who does give a rip about you and your feelings, because she does not. And with a friend like this Kyle person, without significant foundational change, I don't see how you can trust her again. Because it's clear that she doesn't see a problem with how her friends treat her. And she doesn't care if you do. Good luck! Now for the update. Update 1. I'm just gonna go off the bullet points of the conversation because I'm over it. She arrived yesterday with a peace offering from our favorite ice cream shop and wanted to set things aside so we could settle down and catch up on the new episode of Hot D. I told her that I was uncomfortable just eating ice cream and watching television with the elephant in the room. I think that she could sense that I was in a different mood than she expected. The talking points were as follows. I mentioned that I felt no need to apologize and referenced that Kyle had never apologized for disrespecting me in my home on other occasions, and that the average person would display hostility towards someone who acted the way Kyle acted. Her response was that she felt it was a first-time offense and that she had no idea I felt so strongly towards the jokes in the past. I cut her off and told her that she wasn't listening to me if that was how she felt. She stated that I introduced violence, and that's what I should be apologizing for. I stood my ground and said that any person who touches another person's spouse sexually in front of them without their consent should understand that they're going to provoke a reaction. Given that I actually have boxing experience, I showed restraint. She made this weird point that because I have boxing experience, I should somehow be more careful about provoking violent situations because I know that a fight between Kyle and I is a mismatch. Which I easily countered with the fact that I didn't provoke the situation. Kyle did, and my girlfriend not seeing that is a problem. She mentioned that it was reckless for me to kick out an intoxicated guest. I easily retorted with, Uber fucking exists. There's no reason to drive drunk in 2024. If she dies in DUI, it's because she was too cheap, stupid to pay the $15 to get a ride there. I looked it up yesterday. Her stupidity is not my responsibility. I asked her if she'd slept with Kyle in the past. She said no. Maybe I'm biased and not to be trusted, but I believe her. I told her that it makes me super uncomfortable that she keeps pressuring me into having sex with someone I'm attracted to. This is compounded by the fact that I've had to jump through hoops to make sure that Kyle was comfortable with her sexuality over the years. This is the curveball I didn't expect. She claimed that Kyle actually likes me for that reason, that Kyle shows her affection like a schoolyard idiot, that Kyle feels comfortable with the both of us. My girlfriend feels comfortable with Kyle, so their intention was to gauge my comfort level and proceed. Obviously, I brought up that I wasn't sexually attracted to Kyle in any way, and that she hadn't helped her cause by treating me the way she has that night or the nights prior. My girlfriend reinstated that she was unaware that my feelings before were as strong as they are because I didn't display emphasis or something. Essentially, she thought I shrugged it off in good humor. I stated that I'd like to start talking about what a breakup looks like. She was obviously so far from the idea that we were talking about a breakup. Immediate waterworks, immediately incoherent and apologetic. I brought up that I'm unsure if she actually believes in our shared goals of marriage, parenthood, and monogamy. She was in hysterics, but essentially couldn't believe that I would come to that conclusion based on one night. I reminded her that it was a pattern of behavior, not one night. She then backpedaled and said that her polygamous behavior was a part of her life she wanted to share with me before we were married. And she believed that she was presenting it in a way that she thought would be appealing to me. I think she thinks I have porn brain. But I reminded her that I'd shown a lack of interest before, and that in my opinion this wasn't the first time she'd pitched fooling around with Kyle. She circled back to insisting the other times were jokes. I told her that if she believes that, she either wasn't listening to me or not taking me seriously. I brought up that it wasn't okay that they called me gay because I didn't want to engage with their ideas. I brought up the hypocritical nature of her friend group being so inclusive, but making fun of my sexuality when I didn't want to participate in their games. She was hyper-apologetic and didn't understand that it was a problem until I framed it in, had the shoe been on the other foot, it would never be acceptable. Update 2. I, male 30, broke up with my girlfriend, female 31, and now she won't move out till the school year starts. Do any of you have experience evicting an ex? It's been a rough couple of weeks, but I did it. I broke up with my girlfriend after she tried to throuple me with her friend. Initially, she was happy to move into her cousin's house. But there's been some drama because the story she tells her friends and family leaves out key components. Some of them reached out angrily to me. When I set them straight, they then gave my ex an earful. Now she's mad at me for disclosing sensitive information. I'm guessing that her cousin isn't allowing her back because she doesn't agree with her decisions. I don't know for sure because we're not in contact. I only know what my ex says, and she's unreliable. She's become hot and cold, either bitter and cold shoulder, or bringing up reconciling and coming on to me. I've made a point to resist her advances. She's been trying to guilt me. A few months ago, she made the decision to go after her master's degree. She was supposed to be starting very soon. But now I've compromised her living situation. She's upset that rent everywhere else is double what she contributes here. I tell her that it's no longer my problem. I guess she has a subscription service that has been delivered here. She produced that last night when I told her I needed her completely out by the 15th. Now she's saying she has a right to be here. Does anyone have experience evicting an ex? Update 3. A woman, female 34, that I, male 31, have been seeing has an OF. Can a relationship realistically be salvaged? I got out of a nasty breakup a little under a year ago. I avoided the dating sites but ended up meeting this lady through mutual friends. She ticks off all the boxes, she seems very kind, she's stable financially and emotionally, she's very funny, we have great chemistry, and the physical relationship is great. But like 15% of her income comes from a small OF account, which is fine, her content supposedly is just photos of her solo work. Now she's talking about becoming exclusive. I'm only realistically talking to one other person, and that relationship hasn't become physical yet. But I'm ready for marriage, kids. I want to settle down. And in my opinion, a woman with an OF isn't looking to settle down. She disagrees. We got into a big argument over it. What she heard was, "You're not wife material," which isn't entirely true. She totally is, without the OF account. She has a good job. Her account is small enough that it wouldn't affect her finances too much, especially if we moved in sometime within the next 2 years. I made my boundary clear, but she keeps calling, texting, insisting that I'm the only guy that she's seeing. I know OF isn't prostitution, but it is sex work. Plus, her account brings in less than a part-time job at McDonald's. I feel like it's not unreasonable to have a problem with strangers looking at sexual photos of a person you want to pursue a serious relationship with. Have any of you made a relationship work with a sex worker?